Just want to briefly continue this topic or concept of the religious anti Zionist, which you see berating through different parts, holding hands with the enemies of Israel and the Jewish people, the Palestinian, how they berate the state of Israel and the Jews who live in Israel. I want to read something that Rabbi Teichtal, which I've been quoting a lot from his book, and I've posted it on my Facebook so you are aware of it. He says something very interesting, and his disciple, the Maharam Sheikh, applies this to all areas of Jewish life. If the Tzaddikim detach themselves from something which is necessary for the community, and the simpleton stays with it, the evil is twofold. This matter will turn out to be exclusively in accordance with the spirit of the simpleton. God forbid, he says. Therefore, it is better for proper Jews not to detach themselves. This is based on the text inside from the Khatam Sofer on his book of Nidam, page 30 through page 31. Now, interesting enough, the same holds true, he says, in regards to the building of the Holy Land, Eretz Israel. Ever since the beginning of this movement, the God-fearing Orthodox Jews separated themselves from it and opposed it, refers to opposing in creation of the state of Israel. The simpletons, on the other hand, took the matters into their own hands and exerted themselves greatly to achieve their goals. They toiled and labored until Hashem desire succeeded through them. And this is based on Sefer Yeshayahu 53:10. Now, since the God-fearing Jews kept their distance from this entire undertaking, like we see today, it is surprising that the building was accomplished with a free, non-religious spirit, which is what these ultra-religious are protesting against. The anti-Zionism is really a protest against the non-religious spirit, which, according to Rabbi Teichtal, they have the fault. They, the religious ones, are at fault at this. Had we all cooperated, he says, from the very beginning, an abounding spirit of Torah and devotion would undoubtedly have pervaded the land. But that's not the case. You have the Chilunim. This is why I posted up that the Chilunim are the messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they themselves don't realize that they're being instruments of this. Now the simpletons have already established a fine settlement, and it's obvious that they are the lords of the land, for it is the fruit of their labor. Thus the words of our mentor, the Khatam Sofer, have proven true. In other words, these anti-Zionist religious Jews are still have been protesting against any movement that would try to establish the land as Eretz Israel. 1948, by divine providence. And obviously, this fulfills in many aspects the idea that the kings of the nations would grant permission only as a result of their labor, of the Chilonim, the secular Jews. These Jews that you now bereft and try to destroy and try to harm, because of their sechut, their merit, they established Eretz Israel. And slowly but surely they are being drawn into Torah observant because of a lot of the Teshuvah movement, the Baal Teshuvah movement, and the great spirit of Hashem that's moving them towards this direction. But as you continue to protest against the state of Israel, you are going to find your own ruin at the end of the road. Though it may be of a pure motive, nevertheless, even Mashiach will not be established by your whims and your wait-and-see attitude. And we've seen that to be the case. So thus, we must bring the irreligious back to God, no doubt about that. But you also have to accept that this anti-Zionist movement is in error. It's a mistake, and must be corrected if you really wish to see the Mashiach arrive or come, because the land has to be established before Mashiach comes. And this, I think, Rabbi Teichtal clearly puts forth. And thus, any movement like these movements that we see by these great Hasidim and these great knowledgeable men, yet have erred, have made a mistake, and they don't recognize it. They don't recognize it because they don't recognize the basic principle of divine providence. Nothing happens unless Hashem permits it. And the state of Israel, Hashem has permitted it, Hashem has accepted it, and has sanctioned it, even by the influences that he created among the nations, that they too would say, yes, Israel is a state and has its right as a state, as a nation among nations. Keep this in mind. This is a divine action, something which many of these anti-Zionists refuses to see. They look at it like if for some reason these Chilonis, these secular Jews, are acting apart from divine will. They're not. They're working within. It's time for the ultra-religious to get in line and follow what Hashem is doing, giving the sechut necessary, the merit necessary, so they can draw back the holiness into the secular, and thus bring to the next phase of this whole plan that Hashem has for Kalal Israel. So stop fighting. Stop dividing the Jewish people. If you don't like living in the land, get the heck out of there. After all, in your mindset, Galut is your place. So leave Eretz Israel. Why don't you? Because you know Hashem is doing things, miraculous things there among and in the merit of these Chelonim. Shalom, shalom.